You ready, Dan?
Yep.
Welcome back to Daily Transmission. What the hell is going on here today?
I don't know. He just shows up and does things, and no one asks questions. And we carry on with our day.
Our day today is about to be pretty radical because we've got this man, Mike Ryan, here. Do you know Mike Ryan? You ever seen anything he's done? Stunts for Mad Max Fury Road. A few of the Fast and the Furious. New Avengers movie that's coming out.
Damn with this guy.
Can we work? Mr. Mike Ryan?
Two old guys sitting in a chair telling stories, man.
I gotta get that high five. There we go.
Looks like an action hero. He's got an action hero name. He drives like an action hero. You're an action hero.
Well, I don't know about that. I just made a bad decision a long time ago, and I stuck with it for 40 years.
That's what I've been saying for these last 10 years, so I got something to look forward to.
This is my buddy Harry, by the way. Met Harry at Palmdale at LACR drag racing back in like '98. Yeah, how many goofballs like trucks?
Yeah, right?
Well, speaking of trucks, let's go look at this thing.
This thing's tall.
Well, Detroit Diesel says that it's about 2,400 horsepower at sea level. It has a triple compound turbocharging system on it. I have no idea what size they are. They won't let me mess with any of the drivetrain. Supposedly, it's about 4,000 foot-pounds of torque.
I was going to say, it has to be like double the horsepower.
What blows my mind is it consumes about 4,000 cubic feet of air per minute at that.
Oh my God!
Full song.
Well, I mean, with
So
with
those are
Johnny's
the biggest
like,
filters K&N makes.
the biggest filters I've ever seen.
You got one, you got two,
And then another one for good measure.
yeah. What is it, about a volleyball size?
The fun thing for me is a guy back in Cambridge, Ohio at Detroit Diesel Remanufacturing. That's a tractor pulling race guy, and now he's racing semi-trucks in the Bandit series. But Bob would try out his ideas on his tractor pulling tractor, and if it worked good, then he'd put it on here and we'd take this to Pikes Peak and run the hill climb. We've done Pikes Peak hill climb 18 times in a semi.
18
Got undefeated, except for a DNF when I spun out, and I think I've got 7 records there, and 6 of them are just building a faster truck.
Well, that's amazing. Best part is that he's got Michelin as a sponsor for tires because they don't last long.
Yeah, I see
Yeah,
that.
he's
Yeah.
already been.
You're one of
down
those
the
guys,
road a
huh?
little
You're
bit.
one of us. That's cool.
4,000 foot-pound Torque, I don't think so.
Look at the size of this
But before
wing.
before we go to the wing, I just want to point out that this thing is internally gated. That's an internal wastegate on 3 big Johnny of turbos. That just
And this is a, it's double wide, late 90s Indy Champ Car short course wing.
No, double wide. All right, yeah, that makes
So it's
sense.
double the Indy car
You're gonna fit
deal.
right into Meth Row there.
And so,
Yeah.
at sea level, it's supposed to produce about 1,800 pounds of downforce at 80 miles an hour.
Okay.
Pikes Peak, the air's about a third thinner, so we reckon it's probably 1,200 pounds at 80, which I don't get to see 80 very often there, but when you do, you're really happy to have it.
How much does this whole thing weigh?
About 10.7, 10.8,
10.7?
something like that.
10,000 pounds.
This thing, the engine and the transmission are hard mounted to the chassis. There's no flex in the mounts. And it was shifting so hard that it just light the truck up and throw it sideways, which is kind of hard to do if you're trying to road race. So we ended up with, there's a pair of 500-pound per inch of compression springs from AFCO in there. And there's kind of a big washer welded in there. So on throttle or off throttle, brake, throttle, whatever, it allows the rear end to rock a couple degrees. And that's what that nitrogen back shock is all about. This FAS gets all the aeration out of the diesel fuel, so you're not putting a bunch of air in your engine.
This thing.
So those are pretty dandy for diesel guys. This black cross member here is actually the braking water tank. I spray water through here into the vents to cool the brakes.
Got water-cooled brakes.
Yeah.
All right.
Trying to get this thing light, you know, I try to get every part to do more than one job. So that cross member became a water tank.
That's sick.
It's triggered on the brake pedal, so when I step, it does have a little trickle all the time when you turn it on, like a mister, you know, at a bar. And then when you step on the brakes hard, it increases the spray.
Even with all the heat that goes into it, you think that cooling it off immediately like that would kind of...
Well, I've had everything cryogenically frozen, all the brake rotors and drive shaft and U-joints and axle shafts and everything to try to keep them from breaking. We used to break rotors almost every run. And then I froze them and then I never broke them again. So that was pretty awesome.
It's like Wesley Snipes in Demolition Man.
The big tank there is water methanol. And you can see the red lines, the direct port injection. That's a handmade intake manifold that Randy Simmons did.
This is the biggest intake manifold I think I've ever seen.
Well, and it's supposed to, that kind of boom chamber is supposed to equal out some of that intake pulsing.
Ow.
So those are water meth injection.
Okay.
And there's some pre-injection. I can't remember where it is now. I think it's pre-intercooler and post-intercooler and then direct injection at the intake manifold. The thing about Pikes Peak, which again is what this was built for, is the air is so thin so it doesn't do a very good job of cooling. So you'll see there's just tons of fluidized custom built engine oil cooler, transmission cooler, power steering cooler. It's really just a rolling cooler.
Hell yeah. What's the interior of this thing look like? Is it strictly business?
It's
or-
got dual cup holders in it. It's got diamond tufted leather and Corinthian,
Okay, a sleeper cab or...
Yeah, it does have chrome naked ladies. I gotta say that.
Hell yeah.
There's even a naked lady helmet holder. Up
Oh
there.
yeah.
Got the hula girl on the dashboard for good luck. You know?
Oh yeah. Of course.
All fiberglass.
Well, the hula's kind of my mother was born and raised in Hawaii, and she's quarter-blooded Hawaiian, and she passed away a few years ago. But that's keeping Mom with me, and I got her here too.
That's just long
So-
lost love. Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right.
Yeah, I like that you can see right in there too.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice when you can see what's wrong, really, or if anything is wrong. So, I don't know if your audience is familiar with the hill climb or not, but it's 156 turns in about 12 and a half miles, and you gain almost a mile of elevation. And we start at 94.57 above sea level and finish at 14,110 feet. So that's what's always been the challenge of that, is the curves, the drop-offs, and then trying to get stuff to run in a world where stuff doesn't usually run well. Our best time was in 2012, and it was a 12:38, I think. But I spun out in the W's, and I lost about 20, 30, 40 seconds there. So in 2016, 100th anniversary of the first running, we were on what would have been probably a 12:20, and got red flagged about 3/4 of the way up because of the previous competitor's brake rotor was on course. The insurance company killed my day and effectively killed the sponsorship. And so 16 was the last year we ran up there. The truck is, we just did another video for Transtech and Corteco. They're the largest manufacturer of seals in the world. Thank goodness for them. It's not really Size Matters 3. This truck in different vinyl wraps has done two other
I think I've
pretty
seen that
significant
video,
YouTube
actually.
drifty videos.
See more stuff. Size Matters 1 and 2. But let's.
Big rig drifting.
Make sure you put the right domain in there.
Yeah. Well, let's see this thing tears up.
You got the locker in there?
And I
today?
gotta say, I think Ken Block is probably a genius because he created this whole genre. And Size Matters 1, I just went out to copy the guy. Really was respect. The guy. I've spent my whole career being a stunt driver, and to see a guy go out and come up with this totally changed our industry. You can't just go slide up around the corner anymore. So all of us had to learn how to drift at some level, and so he started something just pretty giant and huge. And so my hat's off to you, man. A lot of respect.
Oh yeah.
I will pay your respects by burning them tires down.
Blow,
Yeah.
blow our minds with this big truck.
Give her hell! I can't see a thing! Yeah! Oh! Yeah!
Yee-hoo! Yeah! Mr. Mike Ryan burnt it down. Super impressive the way you can wheel this thing. It's
Close to those walls and everything.
close to the trailer, no fear. You're like, whatever. All we gotta do now is,
Yeah, we got one more thing we gotta do. We gotta wrap this. You gotta scream it from the you know, from the grundle up, right?
From the grundle.
From the grundle, you know what I mean?
I haven't visited there in a while.
Go.
Here, let me here. Let's just put some tie downs around the wrist real quick.